Hello, thanks for joining me on this cold and frosty winter morning, January 2021. My app on the phone says -2. Earlier it was -3, but when I go outside and look at my car, I see this. So, a bit too cold even to venture in the garage yet. I feel it's make or break day on the project of building the replica medieval helmet. Today's task, relatively simple actions, but lots of complicated thought processes. How do I position the brass adornments in the right position surrounding the eyepiece on the helmet? The vertical part of the brass adornment is going to be very straightforward. It's just getting it vertical and matching the eye slot. But the horizontal brass adornment that immediately surrounds the eye hole, well, that's a whole different ball game. I guess the make or break attitude comes from the fact that during any project build, there's crucial moments when you want to get it right. There isn't a lot of room for error. A lot of my project has compromises, but in this case I want it to look right, because if the helmet is on display anywhere in my house or wherever, I don't want to be looking at it as if it's a wonky picture on a wall. You know the feeling where you just wish you could straighten it up. Well, if I mount this brass wonky, that's it, it's done. The way I get round this sort of dilemma is to approach it steadily, constructively, but give it lots and lots of thought, and that's where I am at present. First of all, I decided to cover the bare edge of the aluminium with gaffer tape. After deburring the edge of the eye slot, I've covered it in gaffer tape because inquiring fingers poke through the eye slot when it's on display might be susceptible to meeting sharp edges, and it won't do me any good if I injure people. The whole point of the helmet is protection. So the eye slot covered in gaffer tape, I'm sufficiently happy that it's safe now. The brass has a folded edge, so that's not the same issue, and that's quite safe. You could run your finger along that. I think we covered that in yesterday's video. So if I've created the brass eye slot horizontal piece correctly, it should be slightly smaller than the eye slot so that no aluminium is visible and the brass becomes the focal point. It should also be horizontal, and our brain naturally looks for things to be vertical and horizontal. We love straight lines in nature and in our lives. So the brass eye slot adornment wants to be horizontal, equally spaced at either end of the slot, and I dare say we'll be comparing it to any of the breathing holes we see around the front of the helmet. All things to be taken into consideration. At no point did I make the curly bits on the end of the eye slot brass. At no point did I make them mirror image reflections of each other. The thought and effort I put into it was based on what looked right and looked good. When I place it on the helmet, it then becomes natural for people to mirror image the left and the right and see if there's any discrepancies. Well, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, viewers of the helmet, you may well find something that's not quite square or true or mirror image, but I can live with that, because whenever I do pluck up the courage to drill that first hole and mount the brass adornment, from that moment on I'll be trying to create it best I can, but it's out of my control. I can only do what I'm capable of. There's a saying in fishing, that's another of my hobbies, that people run out of skill, and that's when you cast and it lands on an island or in a tree or a bush. So hopefully I don't run out of skill on this point, on the project. Hopefully the clamps will help me position it. Handy clamps at present, but they do get in the way of visualization, and as you know, visualization is a massive part of how I create projects. How it translates from visualization to actual project manufacture is anybody's guess, but that's where I am with the project. So not a lot of action, but lots of thinking. So thanks for bearing with me. Join me again soon. when I'll actually be doing something rather than thinking about doing something. Thanks for watching.